Hey there! Ever come across a technical term that just looks completely impenetrable? Well, today, we're going to grab one of those, take it apart, and see just how simple it really is. Let's get started. Okay, so here it is in all its glory. Functions. Taxonomy of functions in C programming. I know, right? It sounds like something straight out of a dense textbook. It's just a lot of words. But what if I told you that all this really means is a smart way to organize your programming tools? That's it. And that's exactly our mission today. We are going to deconstruct this phrase, look at each piece on its own, and then put it all back together. By the time we're done, this won't be some scary piece of jargon. It'll just be an idea that makes total sense. So here's how we're going to do it. First, we'll nail down what a function actually is. Then we'll talk about this cool idea called taxonomy. After that, we'll combine the two for that big aha moment. And finally, we'll look at why any of this actually matters in the real world. Simple as that. All right, first up, what is a function? Seriously, think of these as the fundamental Lego bricks of any program you'll ever write. They are the essential building blocks of code. So a function is basically a little package of code that's built to do one and only one specific job. Maybe its job is to add two numbers together, or maybe it's to check if a password is valid. The key is one job, one function. That's the golden rule. And most of them work like a tiny, efficient machine. You give it something to work with. That's the input. It does its specific job. That's the process. And then it gives you something back, the output. Input, process, output. It's a really clean and predictable system. Okay, so we've got a handle on functions. Awesome. Now for the second part of our puzzle, that word taxonomy. And trust me, this isn't just for programming. It's a big idea for making sense out of, well, just about anything. At its heart, taxonomy is just the science of classification. That is all it is. You see it everywhere. It's how a library sorts books into genres like fiction, nonfiction, sci-fi. It's how biologists group animals into species and families. It's just a system for creating order out of a big, complex mess. And here's a perfect way to visualize it. On the left, imagine a programmer's desk, total chaos. Code is everywhere, you can't find what you need, and bugs can hide in any corner. It's a nightmare. But on the right, that's a workspace with taxonomy. Everything has a place, it's all organized, and you can work efficiently. That's the power of classification. It transforms chaos into clarity. So, let's recap. We've got our functions, the building blocks of code, and we've got taxonomy, our system for creating order. Are you ready for the big reveal? Let's see what happens when we snap these two ideas together. So what do you get when you take a function, our little block of code, and you apply taxonomy, our system of classification, to it? What does that give us? Boom! There it is. A function taxonomy is simply a systematic way to classify and organize all the different kinds of functions in your code based on what they do or how they work. It's like creating a perfectly organized digital toolbox for your code, just like that clean workspace we saw. So let's think like a programmer for a second. How would you actually do this? What kinds of groups could you create? Well, you could group them by what they do, right? Maybe you'd have a group for all the functions that handle math and another for functions that deal with text. Or you could get more strategic and group them by their purpose in the program. You could have a whole set of user interface functions that draw stuff on the screen, totally separate from your database functions that save and load data. See? This is where the real craft of programming starts to show. Okay, so this sounds like a pretty neat organizational trick, but is it really that big a deal? Absolutely. Let's talk about how this one simple idea can completely level up your programming skills. Because this is where the magic happens. When you have a good system for your functions, your code is instantly cleaner and easier to read. When a bug pops up, you can find it and fix it way faster because you know exactly where to look. Joining a new project with a huge code base? No problem. You can get the lay of the land so much quicker. And it makes working on a team 1,000 times easier. Look, here's the bottom line. Organizing your code this way isn't just about being neat. It's about creating clarity. And that clarity makes you a much, much more effective developer. And just like that, you did it. You took this big, scary, technical phrase, and you broke it down into something that actually makes sense. You didn't just memorize it. You get the what, and more importantly, you get the why behind it all. So what you really learned today isn't just about functions or taxonomy, it's a method. You now have a framework for taking any intimidating idea and breaking it down into simple, understandable parts. So my question to you is, what's next? What's another complex idea you're ready to tackle? Because now you know exactly how to do it.